be bothered with all this YouTube politics, to be honest.
Are you ready?
We're back. The time is now.
Well, good evening, everybody. Again, after a very poor performance. Oh, what's going on here? We're on again. I don't know what's happened there, but we were playing the thing again. Absolutely gutted, if I'm honest with you. It was such a poor performance. Not sure why there's just me on the main screen again. I don't know what happens with this system. Sometimes it goes haywire. Lads, again, void of ideas. The poorest Manchester United team, I think you could say, we're facing that I've seen in a very long time. We just did not turn up tonight again, and I feel so sorry for all of the travelling fans that have obviously made the journey tonight a difficult time of year to get anywhere, if I'm honest with you, regarding public transport. But that was a shocking performance again from us away from home. What is it about Newcastle and travelling away, and it doesn't matter who we face, we just don't want to play? What is it about Newcastle at the minute that just seems to be void of any idea? Is it all on Eddie Howe? Is it all on that single man that provides us with these poor performances week after week away from St James's Park? Mighty win.
It was yet again apparent after half an hour, albeit we're already 1-0 down. So it could still have been argued that it was, a reactive change. But if you bear in mind, we were in the ascendancy when they scored. So you can argue maybe keep it away, but not for as long as he did. Just not good enough. In-game management, substitutions, everything that we've went on about again. I'm done. I cannot defend him anymore. I still think that sacking him and replacing him is not going to be the silver bullet that everybody thinks it is. And I don't think Piff will do it, actually. But I don't know, because now we're certainly not going to be within 3 points of Champions League now on New Year's Day. And that was my threshold. And we ain't going to be there.
At least you're sticking to it.
Boki, your thoughts on what you've seen tonight, mate?
The first thing I would say to the happy clappers is, again, I said it after the Sunderland game, I've said it after every loss this season, give yourselves a little bit of time to think about it. Don't jump to conclusions now. It's always horrible after a game, so don't jump to conclusions and don't come to an answer at this point. Give yourselves a little bit of time to put things into perspective. But the other thing I would say is as well that those fans that went down there the day, they travelled down there on a Boxing Day evening, and this isn't Newcastle United's fault, this isn't Eddie Howe's fault, but this Premier League's fault. But then to go and watch that game, those lads deserve so much better. They deserve such a better performance than that. Yeah. And to be fair, we've all sat, every Newcastle fan in the world, around the world, will have sat there and watched that match of the day. We've got Christmas out the way there. You're thinking a Boxing Day fixture, great, let's sit and watch it. Absolutely terrible performance. And to be fair, as I say, happy clappers, stick to your side until you have had time to think about it. But for me, that just proves the complete point with the guy. He's got no in-game management. You can see things are going wrong. He doesn't change it. He doesn't change the style of play. He doesn't change the players. He doesn't substitute and make positive changes. Why not the day bring on Voldemort? Bring on Wissa and play him with Voldemort. You need a goal. You need a goal, and he takes a striker off. Come on, guys, it's the wrong decision. Wynne did his King speech yesterday for Eddie, and I praise him for that. And a lot of what he said was very emotional to him, and I understand a lot of what he said. But in regards to this, the guy's time's run. Get him out of our club now and get somebody in who can actually manage a game, who can manage a game of football.
Yeah, sentiments. You want to do the super chats, mates? There's a couple coming.
Randomax says, how many shocking performances will we have to endure before the nuclear option, well put, is activated? Oh, wait a minute. That's Sean saying, don't jail Borky, he was right. Is Eddie Howe packing?
Bloody
Okay.
hell from him.
You're the
Hell of a
boss.
statement.
It was
Queenie saying, I'm a passionate footy fan of the Toon. Feel absolutely let down tonight, and it's the same thing every game. Certainly every away game. Not good enough. Quite right, too, Queenie.
Andy, mate.
Before we get on to today's game, if we're talking about Eddie, I'd like to get into a little bit of it might seem a bit of a rant, but I'd like to think there's some mathematics behind it. We can't win away from home. That is something, and ultimately the PIF's objective is to be challenging. But we've been proved over the last 24 to 28 months that Eddie Howe has a problem winning away from home with his teams. And it goes back to everything what the lads have just said about game management, etc., team selection, loyalty. What about the points we've dropped at home this season? A fortress. I think we've dropped more points away from home. At home, simply because we're in a position sometimes at home to win games than we have actually away from home. When you can't win your home games and you can't show up for derby days and you can't change a game in a derby day and flip it. I was totally with you there, Boat, when you said it. Voldemort Wissa. Lee rang us at half time and I says, look, we're toothless. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to get beat 1-0 at Man United. Why not put Voldemort deeper? Chinali looked like he was injured anyways at the end of the first half. He was limping as he went off. Take him off. Take Jacob Ramsey off. Put Joe Linton and Wissa on. Joe Linton will do you a little bit of extra muscle in the midfield that you're going to losing that extra midfielder. Stick Waldemar in a 10 and stick Wissa on. Try and get back in the game, and then you can reevaluate it if you get back into the game. I cannot understand sitting watching that. There's certain things going on in the game. Gordon trying to pass a ball 6 yards. He looks like a toddler passing it to a pin. I mean, you've seen how many times he tries to just flick it with his toe and it never reaches where it's supposed to go, and someone just comes in. And we nearly got broke on twice. I think Sesko's chance came from that. It's laughable, guys. Hobby Bonds got stuck out on the right-hand side. Why?
Out of the game.
Producing on the left-hand side. Stick him on the left.
Yeah.
Irish is
crazy.
saying there Bournemouth scored 4 against them when they had Bruno and Mbeumo playing. We couldn't score without them on the field and with a 5'4" centre half.
Another thing I fear for, Win, I'll be honest, there's moments in that game where Miley shows unbelievable good class. He's playing out of position. He pulls the ball out the air against Cunha, and his strength, and he comes out and he plays the ball. He's not going to, look, because he's a local lad, great, we're going to keep him for another season, I'm sure. We keep dropping like the brick that we're dropping now. We'll lose him. Like Elliot. Okay, Elliot was sold for different reasons. We've got an absolute gem there. We're going to end up losing it because we're not going to be able to compete. And because what's going to happen is one of our big boys is going to go. The end of the season, I guarantee you, Tonali will
Oh,
leave.
I can see a couple of the big boys going there,
Tonali will leave.
and
Can I just
Livermore.
ask people? Can I just ask people as well? Don't call the happy clappers out, or don't call the people who were called happy clappers out on this. We're all as disappointed as each other. We can all see what's happened. We all know where we're at.
Oh,
They, they might do it the other way around, but let's not be them people. None of us wanted Newcastle United to lose today.
Nobody wants them to
You know,
fail
no,
at the end of the day.
nobody at all wants them to fail. And the happy clappers have got, the chief there who looks after them and wants them to win every game. Sorry, but won't want to win every game. Wants them to thinks that they'll win every game. Tonight's not a night to call people out or do anything like that. As I
hey,
say,
listen! I've got
everybody
Go-
just needs a little bit of time to think about it, and I'm sure after this, I don't think there's going to be many of them who still want a Mitwell club anyway. So
Bo-
let's all
Bogey's
be calm.
sticking up for us. I've even got Niall Powell in the chat sticking up for us.
I
Jacob
don't know if you've
Murphy.
noticed the sarcasm in that win, but
Hey, listen, I'm happy I'm being called one thing rather than the other. I'm being called a happy clapper now. I've never really been one thing or the other.
No, I think that's Gary Moore they're talking about there.
By the way,
Yeah,
the missus has been silently happy next to us.
I bet you has.
Aye.
I must admit,
the match.
I cannot understand how you get somebody like Dorgu, right, who is, I think he's a left back playing right wing, and again causing us nothing but trouble. And again, this is Amrin, who's under so much pressure at Manchester United with such a weak side. All he does is move the team around, and I must admit they look a lot better under that 4-2-3-1 system than they have this season under this 3-4-3 system. And again, you look at individuals, and I thought Dorgu for them ran himself into the ground. He caused us no end of problems. And Newcastle, like I said, I think Newcastle had been training for a 3-4-3 system all week in the 5 days that Eddie Howe's had, and really couldn't deal with it. And like I said, the lads are all saying crossing without looking. V for Vendetta there is a perfect example. We were all told off when we were young, not being able or not looking at where you were kicking the ball. How many times did we see the ball go into the area nowhere near a black and white shirt?
Gordon did it, didn't he? It bounced in front of him and he went to flick it back. He hadn't once looked over his shoulder to see if there was anyone within 20 yards of him.
No.
And then we got broke on and Cunha had a chance with it. Obviously, he stuck it wide, but we literally could have... That was the game done there if Cunha scores. And that's all off Gordon being... literally having the football brains of a toddler.
Yeah. You know what? I will have...
From the 30th minute, we were, well, even before that slightly, but we'll take it from the 30th minute. All three of us who sat and watched the match were going, change something, Eddie, change formation, just do something different. He didn't even do it when he brought subs on. He brought on like for like subs and didn't change anything.
Why leave 4 defenders on?
Yeah, he had striker on the bench who he could have brought on in the 85th minute. So he's only going to get 10 minutes. What's the worst thing that can happen? We'll lose 2-0, we'll lose 3-0.
When we look at it, with shots on target, we're from Lewis Hall. Fabian Shaw hit one over the top of the crossbar. I'm scraping the barrel here. I'm struggling. I think Lewis Hall had another block shot and Shaw had a block shot. None of our striking players had an attacking phase in their box where we other than the one where I lost my you know what. I think Barnes goes into I think it was Gordon goes into the box. He makes it look like he's whipping it to the back post. No one gambles. He should have just smashed it.
Well, again, the main problem for me is just not. And by the way, we had 16 shots, but we didn't have
many on target?
anywhere near two goalkeeper saves.
Yeah.
Out of 16, but you wouldn't believe the stats. 67% possession we're having. How many games have we had majority possession and not created anything? But we did actually. XG was 100th of a point higher than their 1.17 to 1.18. One big chance each. 16 shots to their 9. We had 621 successful passes to their 326. Twice as many passes.
Win. What was the thing at the top left-hand side of the screen after the game? We can go through stats all day. What was the result in the top left-hand side of that screen? 1-0 Man United.
Yeah.
So, you know, we can sit and try to justify things through stats. Let's not do that again. It doesn't work.
Who's trying to justify it?
We're not justifying it. I think the problem is
talking about us having more possession. You talk about having better.
No, I'm saying because we weren't doing the right things with all
even
that
with the possession, and I think that is the problem, isn't it? It's like it's counterproductive. You can have as much possession as you want. And
if somebody's not going to pull the trigger
if
when
you're
it
not
counts,
doing anything, you're not doing. I mean, it literally is. You know, I mean, Connor, bless him, and like I say, Connor does a hell of a lot of work for us behind the scenes. So I want to shout this out. You know, he's made a cracking point here. We played the balls in low with Voltemada on the field. We play the balls in high when Visser's on the field. I mean, come on, where are we here? You know, I think that is spot on, and I think that it also works in the way of like what you guys were saying before. At half time, you can make a positive change by taking a very, very poor midfielder off, who, to be fair, has had some poor games over the foreseeable games before this one. Tonali's been shocking, you know, and we've got to call it out. I don't know where this, you know, excellent player's gone to that we used to have. He isn't the same player anymore. His heart isn't in Newcastle. You know, I don't think Bruno was fantastic, but you could see he still wants to drive that ball forward. But again, you know, what is the point in taking a ball from somebody from 2 yards? Because all you're doing is one man marks two players then. It's criminal sometimes with what I see Newcastle do and how we try and develop the ball from a deep position.
Is it at the moment, Gary, we've got the double whammy situation. We've got the double whammy situation for me at the minute. One of our best players on the ball and probably our only player for me, in my opinion, today that can say, do you know what it is? I did my part. I had a good game. I had one bad moment, and that's Lewis Miley. We're losing what he's good at because he's playing right back. We've got a midfielder in Tonali who we know is a top-class midfielder. For him to have a couple of games off, bad games, yes, okay. I can't remember the last time he had a good game in the last 4 weeks.
Who, Bruno? Or Tonali?
So, sorry, Tonali.
Tonali, yeah.
Honestly,
I agree with you.
I'm getting to the point where I'd go, problem that we've got is we've got no right back. And I said at the start of the season, I got laughed on, we need another wing back that can play both sides. Because if Trippier gets injured, we know what Libramento's like in the sense of he's full energy. If you pick up a hamstring, and you're going to pick up a hamstring injury when you run like that, you are, or an ankle injury because he gets kicked from the pillar to post. We are now seeing the results because the Mr. Dependable backup Kraft's gone. So look, I think the big thing for me today was the lack of balls from Eddie Howe to say, do you know what it is? If we're going to lose this game, we're going to lose the game by having a go. And that was the substitutions at halftime. For me, he had to take Tonali off. Tonali was sitting as a sweeper and he kept giving the ball away. Ramsey, as much as he threatened to get into the game, he was never really going to get in it because no one was linking up with him. He wants someone to play 1-2s with and drive with the ball. No one was doing that with him. So that would have been my indication to say, look, I want some industrial in midfield because I'm going to lose a midfielder. Joe Linton on, Whistle up top, Valdemara. Because when he does hold the ball up, he's capable of doing flicks, something unexpected to create a goal. That gamble, if we get beat on the break, great, fine. But at least we've had a gun.
That's it.
Yeah, but if I'm honest with you,
substitution. Why not make that attack and change?
Well, that's what I said. Why stay and play 4 defenders on a field of play when they go 1-5-5, because that's all they did. There was no formation for Manchester United, and again, they have to go and then throw on their kids, that very rarely get a game at this level. And even the kids looked comfortable on the ball. There was no pressure in the areas that we could have thrown pressure on. And again, it's about saying to yourself, you said Miley, go and say to Miley, go and play in the middle of the park now and start spreading the balls wide. And I know Miley was out on the right-hand side, but then what you get, I mean, somebody said, I think it was Yano, has just said, Tonali was out on the right-hand side. Well, if Tonali was on the right-hand side, it means somebody else isn't doing their job. So get them off, because they're not working. Because Tonali shouldn't have to be on the wing. You've got players that play in that position. And again, if that's not showing the manager that there's a player out there, i.e. Murphy, that isn't doing your job, then you don't wait to 65, 70 minutes to change. You get it done sooner, because you've got to make a reaction to the job. And he's not dealing with it.
Feel for Murphy as well.
Should have been done after half an hour, man.
But Elanga the other
week. I feel for Murphy, by the way. He's the one player that put in 2 dangerous balls in the game and he got took off.
Elanga was crap the other week, let's face it. He should have been hooked after 20, 30 minutes. Murphy, the day, to be fair, he was rubbish as well.
Yeah, he should have been off for 20 minutes.
Why wasn't he hooked after half an hour? Yeah. Because and then you get to half time, he still doesn't make the substitutions, and he waits till his 65th minute and does his usual thing, replace like for like. Come on, lads, we can't keep going like this. As I say, I mean, I think even wins in the boat now, where you just think to yourself, you can't justify this bloke. How the hell do you sit here and justify the way he's managing this team, especially in game?
All I would say is that in between them scoring and Eddie making the substitutions, we had 7 corners, we had the penalty handball.
Did we score?
No, we didn't score, obviously.
Did we score?
Well, no, we didn't.
Did we look like we were going to score?
Well, if you're getting corners, obviously you look like you're going to score.
No, but did we look like we were going to score during that period?
No, because they were putting the ball in a position where there wasn't a black and white shirt.
No. I'm talking about between minute 24.
Hang on, you've called us
out. In minute 65.
You've called us out yesterday. Let me call you out today. Did we look like we were going to score during that period at all? Did we have any shots where you thought, yes, this is going to go in?
You always look like you're going to score if you get in the corner.
No, we didn't win. We never looked like we were going to score. We could have played for another 3 weeks and we wouldn't have scored in that game. Let's be honest.
At least we have Ramsdale to build from the back.
Cheers, Tony. According to the Sofa score, they give Tonali a 7. There was only 3 players in a Newcastle shirt today that got above 7. Louis Saul was our man of the match, according to Sofa score, with a score of 8.1. Yeah. Ramsey got second with 7.1. And Tonali got more than Bruno. Tonali got 7, Bruno got 6.2. What do they watch?
In Miley's getting less than them. That's a joke, that.
6.6.
The only thing I would agree with there is Lewis Hall was definitely our man of the match, but Bruno was behind him.
Well, like I say, I mean, there was a lot of endeavour from Bruno, but there was no output from Bruno, and I think that is the problem. We haven't got a player in the middle of the park that's got the cutting edge, that's got the vision, that's got the. I think for me, the biggest problem I see, and we've said it for a long time now, is pace from that middle of the park. There doesn't see anybody that's kicking on when they're giving and going into the box that can drive and create that extra body. J7 started to do it a little bit towards the end because there was so many bodies in a crowded box. The problem is then it becomes more luck than judgment because you've got so many bodies to try and get that ball through, and it was being deflected. And I must admit, I've got to give credit where credit's due. And the lad at the back, that Aidan Evan, who I've never really heard of or heard that much of, he was by far one of the best centre halves I have seen in a very long time. He virtually got his head to everything. Sorry?
I think he was on loan at Burnley once upon a time. He got a few games under Ten Hag, I think, and then he went on loan. He had a bad game against somebody, I remember, and then he's come back and.
Well, like I say, he was head and shoulders
honestly,
above Walter Messi today in the air. He won absolutely everything.
Yeah.
You know, you think that this kid's got very little experience playing in the middle, and yet he's shown people how to play a centre-half position.
Can I ask you guys a quick question?
Sorry, mate,
Have you
the
ever
problem that I had
seen
at the day
a worse Man United team than we played today?
No. And to be fair, you know, you say
Man United.
I've
They
never
just
seen.
did
I've
this.
seen it. Yeah, I've never seen a team as bad as this. And I'm not being funny. As much as we were bad on the ball, so were Man United. They were giving us the ball back so cheaply. That's what I said. If you've got a team, a half a decent team, listen, one Nancy, whatever, whoever you are, just go back to bed. Just go back to bed. You know what I mean? Because you're just driving me insane. Mods, can you get rid of him, please? Because like I say, I don't want none of that crap on this television, please. Let's just take him off the screen because I don't want to give him the advertisement.
And going back to what you're saying about central play, I'd like to know what the stats is for our ball possession 5 yards outside of the 18-yard box, of their 18-yard box. Because we have a lot of central play just past the D in the middle of the pitch. But as soon as we get there, the focus is ball wide, ball wide, ball wide. Then we recycle it and we just do the same. It's very rare we fire a ball into a strike. We did try it a couple of times, but Valdemar couldn't hold it up. Got pushed off it. Then we had the issue, like Win was saying, when we had the corners. We had a goalkeeper falling all over the floor when no one touched him. We had Dorgu taking a ball to the face and found out like he's been shot. Which, okay, stop the game for that. I get that. But you didn't need to take 2 minutes rest for that. Come on.
No.
There was a chance. There was a period when we had the handball situation just at the edge of the box. Lewis Hall gets fouled. That doesn't even get looked at because they're too busy looking at the penalty. The play that we have in where the top teams play on the edge of your box is non-existent. It is non-existent. We haven't got a player that just sits where that little circle bit is at the front of the D, either sucks out or moves.
I just want to see somebody having a shot.
Exactly.
Irish is saying, can't wait till the end of the season when we get European football for leading the way in corners and possession. Trophy and Europe for all of that. Yeah. And then we've got Fancy a Change saying we've reached the point where fans are digging out our best players, all of them in one way or another. It means the manager isn't getting it.
I haven't seen 7 worse teams than us this season.
Again, sorry?
I honestly haven't. I have not seen 7 worse teams than us this season in the league. I think at best, at the moment, I have not seen 7 teams in the Premier League that are worse than us.
No.
I honestly think we're between 12th and 9th at the minute, the way we're playing.
Somebody's having a very lonely Christmas.
I honestly don't think we're any better than that at all. Because you can't win away from home.
I mean, like I say,
Jeff was in there. Out, 0 excuses now, lads.
Yeah, but you know what? I've got to that point now where I think I'd have. This is going to sound crazy because this is how I was with Kevin Keegan at England. You know, when you see somebody really struggling, I have more respect for them when they hold their hand up and say, "I'm out of my depth now. I'm going." If that's what I want now, I want him rather than being sacked or waiting to get sacked. Have the kahunas to say, you know what, I am probably out of my depth now, so I'm going to step aside. And we keep saying it, don't we? You know, I'm not just blaming Eddie Howe on this one. This is Eddie Howe's henchmen as well, because there's a lot of people that come with him, and I don't think he gets guided correctly by those said people either. So it's you know, if that happens, there's going to be a massive change behind the scenes as well. So, you know, all I'm saying for me now, respect for what you've done, but I think now's the time to see the levels that you can compete with and the levels that you can't.
Dark Side of
Especially
the
the
Moon is
timing,
saying,
isn't it,
when
Gary?
are you Eddie in or out? I'm Eddie out now.
Ooh. You've come
Timing's
across to
everything
our
as well,
side.
guys, isn't it?
Well, not specifically. I mean,
Oh, no, you've said it now. You've said it now.
I want some proper management coming in for to
Yeah.
make sure
Do
we
you know
get the
what?
right one. I'm not on about just anybody coming in.
Eddie can save his own job still. He can still save his job. The thing he needs to do is, like I've been saying for past few months when I've been on this channel, go in tomorrow, just
Have
say
an
to his
epiphany.
coach and staff. No, go in tomorrow, say to his coach and staff, look, guys, you've been great for us. You've got us to this point. We're being a brilliant team. I'm going to move some of yous on, and I'm going to bring some new guys in to give us new ideas and freshen up this team and this squad of players and the way we play. And if he did that, you'd give him that little bit of time to sort things out. Chance of him doing it are zero. And the fact is now, as you say, I quite agree. Unfortunately, Eddie, you haven't changed. You haven't done anything. You haven't, took the chances that you've had to change things around. Eddie, you've been great for us. Thank you very, very much. But don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with
I
you, mate.
honestly think the timing's everything at the minute. We've got a January window coming up. We've got some big games. Don't get us wrong. Obviously, we've got Carling Cup semi-final against. Got the Bournemouth quarter-final on the 14th of January. For me, if we can get a manager in between the 14th from now till the 14th of January and give them the last 2 weeks of the window,
You're
I
muted,
can't
buddy.
believe I was sitting
When you're
watching the
muted.
final today. Yeah, I sat and watched the final today. It was on Sky Sports this morning. I was up with a Ben from 5 o'clock this morning. I was bored, so I was sitting watching it. And I honestly felt like, oh God, mate, you win a game today, I'll be right back on your side. But please don't do again what you've been doing the last 4 months. And he did. So, I mean, how many times, it's like being in a relationship. If someone does a dirty on you, how many times do you forgive them? It's like, that's what I feel like was happening every time, that we can see it as fans. Bear in mind, of course, he's a higher trained eye than what we are. But we're seeing things and it's obvious, and you're just going, look, I don't think it's his tactical brain. I think it's his bollocks. He hasn't got the balls to make the decisions. He's too frightened to make the decisions in case he's criticised for actually making them, rather than what's sticking with what's done him well previously.
Yeah.
But that's previous.
Yeah,
Have some
absolutely.
cojones and
And
just
I must admit, I'm just going on what the real DX is saying here. Look, I can't disagree with what he's put down, because there's far too many average performances, that we see at home and away, especially, and so, on some occasions we've seen at home. But again, I keep saying this: the lads and Eddie performs for the home crowd because it is that home crowd that you don't want to disappoint. The problem is when you're going away from home against a very, very poor Manchester United, you're there to put people's heads on stakes, and this is making that next step forward in the second part of the season. And unfortunately, as the doc has already mentioned in the chat there, if the results go the other way, we could be 15th at the end of this break. And that is something that I never expected me to say on this show going into the new year. And if we are at 15th, piff, if they haven't got the kahunas to get somebody else in, they need to be looked at. And this is what drives me insane, Are they mentioning the likes of the stadium and the training ground and everything else just to stop the negativity towards Eddie Howe, trying to keep that dangle carrot, trying to keep everything on the sweet and narrow rather than what the problem is at the club at the moment? And that is, unfortunately, we are the only club playing tonight, right? So that is a worldwide audience that you've just played to. And they're on about being an elite club by 2030. Well, that's no advertisement to become an elite club by 2030. I'm telling you now.
Lads, let's not give the players a get out either on this. I mean, we're all where we are with Eddie Howe, but in regards to those players get paid a hell of a lot of money to pay to play for this club. Those players, you know, have travelled down there on a luxury coach when our fans have travelled down in cars, old buses, anything just to get to the match. Those fans are, you know, one of the top, our fans are on the top lot in the league. All those players playing for those fans stand and cheer those lads at the end of every game. You know, they stand there, they give them a standing ovation, win, lose or draw, they're there for them. Do them players deserve that? On the night's performance, 100% not. And we can all call out Eddie Howe for his tactics and everything like that, but the people who actually play the game are on the pitch. And let's not give the players a free ride as well.
Yeah, but what I'm going to say, and again, I go back to our Tuesday night conversation when I said to you about, is this a must-lose match or a must-win match? You know what I mean? And I think, unfortunately, watching that first half, and listen, Dorgu's goal was a great goal. I'm not going to take anything away from his goal. Cheers, Connor. I've got it now, mate. I'm going to put it up in a second. Connor's just sent me the post-match video for Eddie Howe. So I'm going to have a look at what he's saying in a second. But, you know, the way I look at this now is the fact that
we dominated the game.
Yeah, it ain't about where you dominate. Like Boki said, what counts is the 3 points. Have we got them? And the mindset for me in the first half, take away Dorgu's goal, which was very good, was must not lose attitude. That's where they come out. It wasn't, they weren't driving into the box. They weren't gambling. They weren't really looking at getting in behind Manchester United. It was trying to deal with what Man United can throw at them. And unfortunately, it's backfired massively.
Tony T's there saying, we can ask Ashley back if you're not happy with PIF.
That, Gary,
it's not about PIF being happy with PIF. It's about them having the kahunas, isn't it, to do the job. Go on, mate.
Just before we go to that, I was talking to someone that's a little bit of a football casual, and we were talking about it and whatnot. And they were saying, well, should Eddie go? And I was saying, well, it's probably the money in the bank that he's got that's, you know, really keeping him. And they went, so every time we lose, how much money do we take out of let's say he's got $1 million in the bank, how much do we take out on away losses and disappointing? That's a good question. As much as that's coming from
money he's got in the
someone
bank,
that doesn't really watch football that much. It's like, in a normal job, 2 seconds, Wayne. In a normal job, how much credit would you take out every time someone does something that's not right in that job? You know, if you muck up at HR, if you muck up in a retail job and you give someone the wrong change, how many times are you going to allow that to happen before you go, actually, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to be put on
what I'm saying is that depends on what you've done brilliantly in the past.
You just let it go.
I get that. Can I just put this on? This is Fly Boys is a United fan, a Man United fan. Look, guys, as a United fan, I'll be honest. If you can't beat this patched up United team, then you lot are in serious trouble. So there you go. For all the boys that are still questioning.
Mods, can we check the chat again, please, just quickly?
I keep
Toon
saying,
Steel,
to stone it.
$4.99. Thank you very much. Howe is a 1 game a week manager. It's obvious to see. He's taken us as far as he can, like for like subs, no tactical changes. Every team needs a refresh.
Yeah.
Can't disagree with any of that.
You know, like I said, I am, like I said, I am
for the analogy if it didn't make any sense, by the way.
No, it's good. It's not a problem with you, mate. I've got more problem with these idiots that need to go to school in the chat because they are just driving everybody insane.
It makes sense to me. It doesn't mean it makes sense to everybody else.
Unfortunately, there's one born every day, Gary, and we seem to have the idiot in the chat today.
There is. And like I say, it just seems to be spoiling or trying to spoil ours tonight. But I mean, like I say, can I just say thanks to Flyboys there for jumping on board and saying exactly what we all feel. That was there really for Newcastle to take tonight. Let's have a listen to what Eddie has to say then about that performance. Come on, Jeff, jump on board.
Apology from me, Bonnie lad.
Let's see what he's got to say then.
Of course, I actually thought we started the game really well for the first 15, 20 minutes, but then think we were maybe slightly rocked by the goal. I don't think we responded well to that moment, and I was a bit disappointed at half-time with our inability to grab control of the game, because I thought it was there for us to take. No, I don't think that it was a tactical issue for us. I don't think we looked as physically good as we did in our last game against Chelsea, where we were physically outstanding. But we got better in the second half and played with good rhythm, dominated the ball, and it was just the goal that was missing.
When you talk about that physicality then, what do you put that down to?
Yeah, it can be a huge number of things. I don't know. I just didn't think we looked... I mean, against Chelsea, I thought physically we were excellent, but we weren't as physically good.
Oh, my days. So now he's blamed physicality as the issue to the performance tonight. And again, is that... are you waving for something, folks? Are you going?
I saying bye-bye to Eddie, I think.
Saying bye-bye, Eddie Howe.
I was gonna say, you caught me out there. I'm thinking, what's happening now? Where are you going to? Listen, I think again, for me, that just shows more inaccuracies than answers, if I'm honest with you. He's taken everything away. You know, he said there, we didn't get a reaction from the goal. Well, why didn't you do something? If you didn't see a reaction, and he's admitting to it, why didn't you do something to make the reaction rather than go like for like, same situation, same formation? Because Manchester United, once they got the goal, you could see exactly what they were trying to do. And that was, I mean, you even saw Casemiro questioning, what, do you want me off? You want me off? Amrin wasn't, in one way, thinking about holding on to, his strongest midfielder, if you like, because Ugarte, for me, is probably their weak link in midfield, but he left him on the field of play. And again, you're talking about mobility. You're not talking about strength. You're just talking about mobility. So if Amrin's got the kahunas to change it up and bring some of his big-name players off, why the hell can't Eddie Howe? Or why can't he just make a tactical change to get the reaction that he's asking for that he didn't see from the side? And again, now you're saying we had no commitment. There was no energy. There was no drive, no physicality. So what's changed? You've had the boys, they've had a rest. Is that what's changed? It's because they've had too much rest now? Crazy, mate. Absolutely crazy.
Irish is saying, this drives me crazy. Can another manager improve the team? Let's be honest, it cannot get any worse. Let's stop this madness. We need a new direction. And then follows that up with, but if you don't know, then whoever you're thinking about is not the right manager.
Well, that's the truth as well, isn't it?
That's my problem.
It is a question, who is the right manager?
Well, like I said, that isn't our job. That's like I said, we've got to go down this line now of the Brighton line, and they should have been doing that last year. They should have seen where the problems were and where we were going forward. And at the start of this year, when it wasn't going as planned, with this 3 games a week scenario going into the new year, surely they should have had the finger on the pulse as early as that, for me.
Eddie Howe protecting players, they are getting him fired, says Tony. Thank you.
In the day saying, again, he can't, the problem is with Eddie Howe, he can't, after the day's game, he can't call out the players. He cannot do it because he didn't change the tactics on the pitch. So how does he call out the players if he's not doing the things on the pitch?
No, I can call out a couple, like.
But he could for not playing well, but he had the chance on the bench to change them. He could have hooked them off and put new players on, and he didn't. He could have changed the style of play we were playing. He could have swapped players around a little bit, He did nothing to change the game. What's the point in having... You know what? I could sit on the bench and say, look, I've got me coaches. These are my best players. I'll put them in them positions, then just sit there and watch them play, which seems to be what he does. He chooses his style of play, he chooses his formation, and that's why he's going to play the full match. And even when he brings substitutes on, he changes them like for like. He doesn't change anything in game management. So in which case, anybody could do that. I could sit there and do that.
Irish is saying my last super chat was aimed at Eddie Wynn. Eddie Howe protecting the players are getting them sacked.
Eddie Wynn.
Yeah.
Can someone tell me another Premier League team that would drop a player, Harvey Barnes, who scored, 7 goals this season, 3 assists, give or take. I might be 1 or 2 out there on either side. For a player that has not scored in 26 games in open play.
Yeah.
And then when he does bring him on, put him in the position where he's not been scoring from. He's been scoring from the left-hand side. That, for me, screams too much loyalty. It should be, Gordon, you're going to play on the right. Barnes, you've been getting us goals from the left-hand side. He has getting a couple from the right as well, granted. And all this because Gordon had a great first half last week. No. Barnes were goal threat. He's the one.
By the way, I don't care what anybody says. Gordon was one of our best players that is in terms of pressing and things.
Oh, he was a good player.
The reason we were on the front, the reason we were on the front foot was by and large because of Gordon's pressing.
Yeah.
Who was one of the worst players?
Pressing wise, yes. On the ball, no.
Who was one of the worst?
On the
was
ball.
one of our worst players? Well, you can pick a few.
Yeah, but I'm saying in the first half, we were all sitting here saying Murphy's like a bad player, isn't playing well. Get him off. And put somebody
get him off,
on.
absolutely, get him off.
What did Eddie do? He just sat on his hands.
No, I agree.
You know what? I hate this because you're normally such a passionate fan on the other side for Eddie. You know, we sit here, we have the banter where you want Eddie to stay, I want Eddie to go, and that's sort of our thing.
Yeah. But let's get this right.
You did a full video yesterday on trying to save Eddie. And the day you're sitting here and you can't do it anymore. You've sort of
that's right, because hang on, why? Jeff was saying, do we get an apology? No, you don't, because my opinion has not changed for 18 months. I said the same thing at this stage last season. If we're not within 3 points of the Champions League after the Christmas fixtures, he's got to go. And I said that this season as well.
But when? That's the last
so now, as far as I'm concerned, now, he's proven that, sadly, he's not up to it.
You see, the biggest problem for us, though, Bokes.
That's the last thing that's the last thing we want to hear Win say.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of us fans. There's a lot of us fans, yo-yo fans, aren't we? Up and down. Be
the right one. No, we want Win to be the right one, saying everything's positive, everything's going well, and I would love that. I would love it if we were the ones that were doing well, but we're not, and it's just a sad situation to see Win like this because he's had to come across the same side as the rest of it, which is Eddie's run his course basically.
No, I haven't crossed any divide other than the fact that the conditions that I set 18 months ago haven't been met.
Yeah, 100%. So you've crossed across to saying you want Eddie out.
As long as we've got somebody to replace him who's going to do a better job.
Can I just say though, out of the numbers that we've got in the chat at the moment, and I want to thank you all. And like I say, this isn't us throwing daggers at anybody, but it seems as though there's a massive swing in. And I wish to God I could throw a poll up there for you guys, just to see where you are now. But it looks like there's a massive swing now towards the darker side, Eddie gone. Then there is a positive, and there's still one or two positives throwing the claps and the and the support there out there towards Eddie. And like I said, this ain't just Eddie Howe. I think there's a lot to be seen. As Foxy's just said there, for me, this has been going on from the end of last season all through the summer. There's been something that's just not right for me. And there you go. I want to put Amrim on now because, like I say, he's also been talking post-match. So let's listen to what he's got to say and how he has dealt with the win against Newcastle.
I think was in the first half. I think we showed that I felt that was the only way to create more danger, to have more opportunities. Was with the back four, with a lot of guys inside. even to kick the ball, because I remember the game from last year. We lost one against one outside, so we just try to imagine the game and to help the players to feel comfortable.
There you go. A manager who, again, is willing to change his thought process and the way he is looking at the game. And I suppose it goes on to prove that, with that mentality, you can affect the game. And it seems as though that's how it's gone. He's changed the formation. He stepped away from this 3-4-3 system and he's gone to a back four. And again, they looked a lot better. They start to go, and try and find a little bit of form with a real, like I say, slapdash team. And like I said, it just proves if you've got a manager who's willing just to turn the screw a little bit and make adjustments, slight tweaks, you can get the positivity and the right result going your way. And I must admit, in my head, when I looked at these two teams, and you can go back and have a look at the start of our watch along, and you can see how positive we all were when we were looking at this team, because none of us expected this system or this situation where we are all asking for the same thing, and that is for change. You know what I mean? I expected us to be 2 or 3 goals to the good tonight, even if United had scored. Manchester United, that is, I still expected us to have come out with a positive result and going into the new year with a fresh attitude and mindset. So again, I don't know what the answer is, because, like, as everybody's saying in the chat there, they're sick and tired of these type of performances. And then there's the other set of the cards, if you like, is, well, who can provide any better if a new manager comes in? Can they make the team that they're going to inherit a better team under a different formation? Well, only time will tell.
Have you ever seen a manager so reluctant to change style of play or formation during a game to try to get a win? Because
not in my lifetime.
This before
not in my lifetime.
No?
I've never seen anybody as stuck in the mud as Eddie Howe is. I keep saying
the guy out. It's just an honest
answer.
No.
It is a totally honest answer. Like I said, I mean, I when I was getting my badges, because the one thing when they used to say to me, you're in a game, how do you change a system? How do you change formation? And you have to have players that are adaptable in certain criteria. And again, that's where you look at the likes of your Mileys, your Louis Halls, who can play in a higher field of play. And sometimes it's not about putting. You've got to. Sometimes when you're playing against an opposition and you need to change, you have to nullify the strength of the opposition to get on top of. Because when you start doing that, and this is why I keep referring to other coaches, if another coach feels as though his formation is beating yours, he's won. And that's like you've just heard from Amrim there, right? I thought this formation will make us a better side, a stronger team. What have you heard from Eddie? We didn't look physical enough. He's kept with the same formation. It's the same strong team. He's had 5 days recovery. He's had 5 days to work with this team. Yeah. And unfortunately, like I said, what he's not done is adapted to Manchester United's strengths. And that was Dogu, who was running the diagonal across the front line, like our back line, if you like. And we didn't have a player to follow it. We weren't making, because everybody was calling me out the other day. Everybody. Who, you're allowing Molly to be on his own. You're the stupid. You've never done your coaches. Where have you played football? And yet every week we come up against teams that do exactly that just gamble and move players right to left and double up in certain positions. Because as an opposition coach, then you either change your tactics to go against and try and stop them, or you employ a different tactic to try and outbeat them mentally and get them to change what they're doing. And it happened time and time again. And who was the person then who was found free in the box because he made that run into that box? Dogu. So if you don't see it in the first 20 minutes by trying to change something up in your game, then those opportunities, it's about luck. You keep on doing it, you're unselfish, you keep running into the same spaces, eventually the ball comes to you. and we got punished.
Gary, again, as a coach, how much decision making does it make to just swap a couple of players around at times? Swap your two wingers around, give the opposition something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. In game, I always used to say 15-minute spells. I used to say to them, 15 to 18-minute spells, see out the first 15 minutes if you're away from home, and then make a change. So sometimes I'd double up on the left-hand side. Sometimes it'd be a 1-for-1 if they could both play opposite sides, because a lot of the time you'd never get a left footer on the left wing anyway. So, I mean, back in the days when I was coaching, it was standard 4-4-2 anyway. You know what I mean? So all you say is 15 minutes, you see your time, and then you start making your play. So from 18 minutes onwards, you start crisscrossing, or you double up and you play two against their fullback and see if you can change it. So there is so many different things.
Yeah.
I don't know what this means, actually. Best
and another one, Gary.
League, my foot. Cyclist fault.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Tony, you've got us beat there.
If I'm guessing what Tony's saying there, I think he's saying basically this isn't the best midfield in the league.
Yeah. It's somebody else.
Certainly not looking like the best midfield in the league.
Another one, Gary's saying there, Dorgu's making the runs across our front five really effectively when we were sitting in. When was the last time any one of you's seen Anthony Gordon make a run in between the centre back and the right back? I never ever see it. When obviously when we're deep, he'll go to the byline, he'll do that run. He never does the Perez run where he loops round the wing back to try and cut the ball back, or he's so wide. It's as if Eddie has him. Look, we all admire Eddie's work rate. I do personally. Things I'm told, a couple of people I know work at the ground. They say he's the first day, he's the last to leave, etc., etc., etc.
You can't fault Eddie's work rate.
He won't get out of his habits. OCD effect. He can't get out of the habit of, right, Gordon's quick, get him on the outside, Murphy's this, Alanga's this. It's mix it up, do something different. Okay, putting Miley right back was a little bit something different. That was only done out of desperation.
Well, that was only because he was forced into it. That wasn't anybody else.
Can we cut out this? He's the first one at the training ground and last out. He gets paid £6 million a season.
9.
That's
9 million. I would skip there from my house for £9 million a season.
I'd sleep there, mate, for £9 million a season.
Exactly.
I wouldn't go home.
The one thing that's bugged me since the day he walked through the door is every interview is exactly the same. We've had games where I could crawl a wall in frustration and he comes out and he's given the same interview. Show it a little bit of character, please.
Listen,
we need to know. You might get a little bit more time in this job off the fans if we know you give a shit. Because as it stands, all it is a computer telling with the same message every week. Yes, we need to do better physically, blah, 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 blah. Oh, come on.
Yeah, here's one. I want you to...
I just want to see...
Gary, what are you on about? Look, Andy, just because you'll be good at this. So this is another Gary calling me out here, look. He changed tactics within 15 minutes and went man for man as Man United were getting the better in midfield. Then we dominated. But players didn't show enough in the final third. So if we went man for man, why was Dorgu free in the box?
Gary, not you, Gary. Gary 6115. Did you watch the match?
He certainly didn't watch the same game as I did.
How did we change tactics and what happened at the end of the game?
We did go man for man. We did switch. We did go man for man. But someone lost their win. Man.
This will put a smile on your face, mate. Dan Burn is joint top assist provider in the Premier League this season.
Well, I don't know where that stats come from because I can't think of them off the top of my hand, and I can think of players who've got 5 and 6.
To be fair to Win as well, this game's changed me stats because we have now lost a game when Dan Burn hasn't been playing.
Yeah, there you go.
We haven't got the stats that Dan Burn is the one who...
No, they're looking better by the day, though.
Oh, there you
But
go.
we're left back, we're
Everyone
still our best
always blames the cyclists or Dan Burn.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy,
We're left
absolutely
back, we're still
mental.
our best player, so that tells you where we've been going wrong.
Sensible Monica saying Eddie is a spreadsheet manager, corporate crap.
Yeah.
But I
100%.
do
Does it
feel
not
as though
bug
they're
you
glossing
guys?
over the problems. You know what I mean? Isn't that how you feel now with all this other crap that's going on behind the scenes? That with all the talk from the CEO and everything else, they just literally. It feels to me as though they've got us dangling on the edge of a carrot. We'll keep sweet talking and we'll just keep it going. I don't see where the positivity is anymore with what's going on and what I can see week in, week out.
Well, I think you've just got to look at Win. I love Win to bits. He's a mate. He's a good mate. And as I say, I love coming on here and sparring with him about it. And we can't spar the day because there's no justifications. Yeah, there's no justifications of that result. And if it's
here's
just
a
awful.
one.
It's horrible.
Fancy a change is saying we're boring. How is boring? There's no excitement
We are.
like there was in the takeover. It's no
Totally
better than
agree.
Ashley's Newcastle. And this season, a lot of the games have been boring. The enjoyment's
Even some
gone
of the
out
ones
of a
we've
lot.
won, Fulham was terrible to watch.
Eddie's on £6 million a year, raising to
Yeah,
$9 million
totally
with
agree.
potential bonuses. So if PIF let him go, it would cost $9 million. The question is, how much money will we lose if he stays?
Well, here's the stat, and apparently it's Magpie Media that's put it up on social media. A sobering stat for the Boxing Day wash-up. Dan Burn is our joint top assist provider in the Premier League this season with two.
Our joint
with
top.
Bruno. Yeah, our.
I thought it said in the Premier League.
It's indictment of our attacking unit, a 6'7" centre back is out producing our wingers and playmakers who are paid huge money. We dominated the ball tonight, but where is the final ball? What are the forward players actually doing on the pitch? And again, you look at that and it's spot on. What are they getting paid for? Because there's no final ball. And again, what Connor was saying before, you got a tall boy up front and you play the ball on the floor. You get a small boy up front and you play the ball in the air. Seriously, who's doing and who's saying what?
Can I do my favourite little speech, Gary?
Yeah.
Eddie Howe, after the last game of last season, took his little legs, stomped up them stairs, says, I want to be in charge of transfers, and he had the chance to get any player he wants. Where are we now?
Well, first of all, that's not what he did. He didn't say I want to be in. He didn't say I want to be in charge. What he said is, I don't want Mitchell to be in charge of transfer.
No, let's just finish. This is the best transfer window ever. This is the best squad we've ever had.
Yeah.
But it is.
It is.
It is the best squad we've ever had. It's just being mismanaged at the end of the day.
So that's worse than him not being good at buying players. If it's not being managed properly, then that's there's no excuse he has to go.
That's still bollocks what you're saying there. But
we can all do a king's speech, talking about the guy and, trying to keep him in his job.
Yeah.
Hang on. If this isn't the best squad we've ever had, or it is the best squad we've ever had, and it's not being managed properly, then he's the guy that needs to go.
Yeah, I agree, and I agree.
But you are right in all aspects when you look at it. I mean, Gary's saying in there that the biggest stat is you've had 16 shots and their keepers. Can you not hear us? Can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Andy?
Andy, he's having trouble with his internet. Yeah, he's struggling with his internet. I must admit, the way I look at this is it's exactly what Gaz has just put in the chat there. You've got all these so-called superstars. Yeah, I can see you, mate. I can hear you, but you're obviously struggling with your what's her name, buddy. So I'm going to mute you there because I can hear you in the background. For me, what I can't understand is when you start looking at all of the stats, and we keep saying that stats mean one thing, on the eye means totally different. You know what I mean? And you've got to stop sugarcoating what we've seen tonight again. You know, and that's nobody in this team has the ability to put a decent ball into the right area, to cause issues, to cause problems. And when we can, it seems to only come in one game. Remember when we was causing nothing but trouble to the likes of Chelsea? You get it all literally consolidated into one 90-minute game, well, one 45-minute game, and then you don't see it in the second half. It just drops off. Same team, same effort, it just drops off. And for me, I can't understand how a team can look excellent 1 minute and devoid of any ideas the next. That is where I worry and wonder what is being said in the dressing room to motivate players coming out to really, again, Man United with all these weaker players changing the system massively, again, which puts them on a detriment to ours because they haven't played that way since Amrin's been on board. Then all of a sudden, we are looking devoid of all ideas to what they're doing. And yet we play a system against us virtually every week, which is what Manchester United pulled out today. A 4-2-3-1 is what we play week in, week in, out against us. And yet, why do they look as though they can do it off the back of the hand when they're just thrown into the gauntlet? And Eddie Howe still sticks with a 4-3-3.
Well, the easy answer to that, and it is an easy answer, is because they had a lead to defend.
But they started that way. They didn't go that way.
Hang on. You said they had a lead to defend. How many times we had a lead to defend and we couldn't do it?
No, well, there's nobody arguing with that.
I was just thinking that. Thank you, Bogey.
Stop sniping, Bogey, and go and sip on your blue drink.
What's your blue drink? Oh, it's a wicked.
Wicked.
Yeah. Wicked. It is criminal.
Guys. Here's a question, guys. Semenyo's available, and I know people are probably going to go, what are you smoking? Can you not go to Bournemouth? There's Alanga and a bit of money. Would they take Alanga?
Oof.
I don't think anybody would take Alanga right now.
What I'm thinking of is, if they're going to get 65 million for him, what are Bournemouth going to be looking at to replace him with? They probably, if he was still at Nottingham Forest, would be looking at Alanga. They won't now, obviously, because he played terribly for us. But
as daft as it sounds, if we could get some menu, I'd be offering them Anthony Gordon. But Anthony Gordon wouldn't go to Bournemouth.
When the new manager comes in, he can manage the likes of Alanga and Gordon. So when we get the guy who's meant to be in charge of it now, them two will change them two players around a lot.
Could we not go there's Alanga and 20 million plus bonuses? And I get that's not going to do well for PSR because we've got no profit on him. We've got a bill that we've still got to pay, plus another £20 million bill. But at least we've got a player we know can play on both sides. He's going to get goals. He's going to be a threat. That's our position sorted. Or as Wynn says, if we're lucky, you're saying, but he wouldn't go to Bournemouth. Where are Bournemouth compared to us?
Yeah,
He's looking up at them, not down.
It was interesting to see Semenyo being knocked back by so many clubs during his youth. And then obviously getting his break at Bristol after coming through the side door, if you like. And look where he is now. One of the most wanted wingers in the Premier League at the minute.
Someone just said...
Christopher Rowell saying, not good enough, man. They look tired. We were playing a poor United as well as need Pope back in goal rather than have bad feet. I'd rather have bad feet than concede every set piece.
Yeah.
But can we just say that the chat... Can we just say the chat is really negative tonight about Eddie Howe? As I say, if you're a happy clapper and or if you're one that wanted Eddie in, give yourself 24 hours before you make your choice up. Always let the game settle in your head and let things calm down. It's really easy to jump out on somebody and give them hell. And we've done that in the chat tonight. Wynn's done it. We've done it. Gary's done it. Game Andy's done it. But, before you make a full and rational decision, give yourself that little bit of time just to think about it. Because that guy's been great for us. He has done a lot for us.
Nobody will ever tell me different to that. But all I'm saying is, we're talking Einstein here, to do the same thing time and time and time again and expect a different result is the definition of insanity.
Well, that was Einstein.
I think me and you are going to argue on the different sides tonight, Win, but give yourself a little bit of time to think about the bloke.
I understand where you're coming from.
You could still be.
Like I say, I've had my mind made up about him the same as I would have it made up about anybody else for a long time.
I said it a season ago, and I got lynched on you. I said if Gordon wasn't quick, he'd be playing the Championship. And
you're right.
I'm sorry, it's been proved. I got lynched.
Well, I completely disagree with you. Gordon's a good footballer.
If he's playing under 12s, aye.
I think the trouble is with Gordon, like I say, he had the beating of Euro tonight. He did him twice and then stopped. And you're like, well, okay, what are we going to do now?
What
are we going to do now?
What did he
and then
do
he plays the ball into the middle when you've got, you're playing the ball across a 6-yard box, crowded 6-yard box, which is cool. I have no issues with that. But again, when you've got players just beyond that, free, why aren't you looking up and having a slot into?
If you're going to call, all I'm saying is, if you're going to call Gordon out for today's performance, you need to be calling a hell of a lot of other players out as well.
I mentioned a year ago when I've been calling him out for a long time.
Yeah,
he
wrongly.
beats a player and he hasn't got a clue what's 20 foot around him. He hasn't got a Scooby Doo.
Well, we'll agree to differ about that.
All managers have the strengths and the weaknesses, and I think what you need to do when you're looking at it is, and as I say, give it the cold light of day. Don't do it straight after a result. Never ever switch from one side to the other after a game. But in the cold light of day, you have to look at it and think: could we have somebody better at this club, who's better at in-game management, who's better at coaching players, who's better at getting the best out of players, who's better than buying the right players? You have to weigh all that up. In my mind, I'm already made up that yes, we can, but don't jump on the bandwagon straight after a bad result. Just give yourselves that little bit of time, everybody, and make your choice.
Just for win's sake, Somerville. A lot of people said, "Oh, West Ham signing a Championship player from Leeds." Blah blah blah. He has more goals and assists this season than Gordon's got in 26 games, and he is a Championship player.
Lads, I'm not saying I'm trying to defend Eddie Howe. All I'm saying is, to the happy clappers, is just give yourself a little bit of time. I give myself after a game to let us think about it, and I think all people need to do that. You've got emotions in your heart. You feel the emotions when you straight after a game. Give yourself that little bit of time, and just then make your decision.
And for a fine fact, you're saying that out of sarcasm. For win.
No, I'm saying it out of honesty. I think these two guys, Win and Gary, will completely back us up. Whenever we go into a game, I'm always the one that's the most positive, and I'll say we're going to win. And if we come out of a game and it's a bad result, I'll call them out the next day when we're doing the chat and everything. But I'll never do it straight after a game. I always say give everybody that little bit of. And the Sunderland game was the big one for that. I said, do not call anybody out. Wait till you've had time to think.
We've got one coming here from Christopher Harrowell. Thank you ever so much.
Can I just respond to Niall quickly?
Let me just do this super chat, buddy. Win, I'll let you do it because one of us is fighting, the other one ain't.
Why drop Barnes when he's scoring every game and when we are not very good? Let's get Simeone in. Howe has run his course. It's bad result after bad result. Certainly away from home it is.
Niall, wasn't saying Somerville was a better player. I was just putting into perspective that Gordon's got worse stats than the Championship player. Thank you.
I mean, listen, we know this game is subjective. People will see things differently all the time, and that's why you don't get coaches in the job for 20 plus years, because again, it's very difficult to point. People make mistakes. We've even seen the best Manchester United side lose against weaker opposition in the past, and that's what I said. You're not always going to get it right all of the time. Boki is a master troll.
He's definitely
either Boki's trolling or he's had too much mulled wine.
He needs to play poker, that's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is, do you know what? You guys forget. You forget we're all Newcastle fans. We all want the team to win. And I'm not a troll. I love my team. But I love my team more than I love the manager.
I love that one now from Jimmy Ray. Gary, we should have signed Somerville. I like a bit of Bronski beat. Love it. I love it. Yeah, that's quality. Listen, like I say, we can go on here all night and just keep pointing the finger. And what's done is done. We can't take it back. I want to finish on obviously the post-match presser because this has come in from Cronin, Jordan Cronin. This is Eddie Howe on his poor away form. We're not ducking the issue and not trying to be clever, but I just think we just need to look at the performances in isolation. Whether they're home or away, it's irrelevant, really. I think it's about what the team's identity is on the day and how it plays. If it's home or away, for me, I don't really care. So you look back to the Chelsea game, and for 45 minutes, we were excellent. Everything that we want to be. Today, for the second half, I think we were as good without the goals. So I think we're closer, as I say, for me, than we've been before this season. But we've still got areas to improve. There you go.
Who's that off?
That's off the man himself, Mr. Eddie Howe.
Wow.
So there you go. Pokey is a master troll, says Sapper. Listen, all I want to say is
as good as Chelsea first half.
Yeah. So, like I said, it is subjective.
I just say, how can a team, the same 11 players who played as well as we did against Chelsea in the first half, turn up and play as poorly as they do at Man United?
Void of ideas, and that's
whose
the
fault is that win? Who is in charge of that team? Who in the end?
What I'm saying.
You did your King's speech yesterday talking about Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
Who is in charge of that team? The King.
But
If it was Kevin Keegan, if it was Bobby Robson, it was any manager like that in the right mind, they would come out and say, this result was my fault. I apologise. Let's go for it. The guy doesn't. Let's not face it. He's not a great manager. He needs moved on.
I mean,
I agree.
Hang on, Bucky. What happened to not jumping to conclusions after games and
No, I've wanted it. No. What I said was I didn't want the happy clappers to jump to conclusions.
Oh, right.
I'm not a happy clapper. I'm happy for him to go, and I'll happily give him a taxi away if he wants. I'll book the Uber.
Like I say, the biggest problem is with all things. Games are driven with passion and attitude, and for me, yes, we've played poorly. And yes, we've had games where we haven't played well and got a result. The problem is when you're playing a side away from home that is clearly lacking ability. Like I said, I don't think Manchester United really, because I'm looking in the chat now, about their attacks and things like that. They weren't attacking us until we gave the ball away. That's how poor our play was.
Yeah,
it was our poor play that was allowing them to break on us, and that's the only real time that Manchester United looked as though they could get in and behind us. And I think that is the reasons why you started seeing players running in from their wider positions to try and give them a different aspect to the game. And it was causing us no end of problems. So, for me, it's a case of you've got to stop being stubborn in some of your decision makings. And I think, sometimes by saying, I'm going to go with the tried and tested all of the time doesn't always get you a, get out of free jail card. And I think unfortunate for me, that is how Eddie Howe is. He's very much, I like to stick with the tried and tested. They have got me to where I am today. They have got me the history that I've got in the bank. But unfortunately, the bank's dried up, mate. The cash is gone.
The frustrating thing is, Gary, as you said there, they weren't attacking us until we gave the ball away. They weren't winning the ball half the time.
No.
We were giving the ball away.
It was just bad football.
There was times when we had the ball and we fired one from the centre-backs. We got the ball and it went straight back. We've just played the risky ball. Now do something. Just try a flick. Do something. We've just bypassed their midfield. But no, Joe Linton did it twice. Received the ball from Shaw, played it back to Shaw. Shaw's just fired a ball into you, like Van Dijk, and you've just passed it straight back to him. What are you doing? Turn with it.
Guys, what did he do in that game that changed anything? What did Eddie Howe actually do that changed anything?
Well, Amrin changed and what gave us the possession because he went defensive. If you think about it, the only reason
what give us anything?
No, we're all talking about possessive based here, right? How much possession we had. Now, if you look in the first, I think it was 25, 30 minutes of that game, Manchester United had more possession than we did. I actually told you guys halfway through the commentary that they had more possession than we did. It was only when Amrin changed their play that we then started to dominate possession because they didn't want the ball. They were happy just to sit behind and say, play in front of us. I don't mind you doing that because that's exactly what you do when you're trying to defend. And they knew they were never going to really go down the other end and trouble us many times. So you flick a coin at that point as a coach and say, do I gamble and put a forward on? Is there anybody on my bench that can change this game? No, but I've got players that can go negative. And just put a player on a pitch that can just stop and block holes. And that's all they did.
When do you want to do that one? And then
I was just saying, Bogey, the master debater. Dear Deirdre, I support NUFC.
Can I just say something to everybody that calls me out in the chat? And I get it, I don't care about you. You can do what you want. But in regards to this, who disagrees? Who thinks Eddie's doing a massively great job? And who wants Eddie to carry on? If you do, just put in the chat yes. Just say, yes, Bokey, you're wrong. I want Eddie to do exactly as he's doing at the minute.
I think the question is, can you remember him? That's his Maximus Marius Aurelius or whatever his father. And he throws his helmet and he goes, are you not entertained? How many times have you been entertained as a Newcastle fan this season?
Wow.
Yeah.
100%. Is that what we're in? Is that not what we're in entertainment business? Yes. Sometimes if you're entertained and you fall short, you can forgive. How many times have we been? Fulham game, 2-1, awful game. I was in Spain for it. It was awful. Fulham game even wasn't the greatest, let's be honest, and we won 4-1. Man City game, good game. Brilliant. Chelsea first half, fantastic. Anybody else going to tell me that a game where we've been entertaining?
Liverpool.
All right, and since Liverpool, I will give you that. Since Liverpool, we've had probably 180 minutes of football where I've been I think I'm being generous there, by the way.
Well, you're calling out the Fulham performance, the 2-1 that were won at the death. But we could have had 7 that game, as I've said a million times.
Mate, I'm sorry. What an awful game.
It was a great game.
We got a lucky winner that covered over the cracks before the international.
That covered over the 7 missed, the 7 sitters that were missed.
But there you are. That's exactly my point. Was it entertaining?
Well, yes, it was.
Win, how many chances do we have the night?
16, too many.
And how many do we miss? You cannot do a season on how many chances you've missed. You do a season on how you've done. So
get away! Is that a fact? Well, slap my thighs.
Where were the chances?
What you do is you sit on Christmas Day and say, "This is the best team ever. Eddie Howe, you've got to keep Eddie Howe, keep him going, keep him in place. And then you sit the next day saying what the hell he's done in that game and say should be gone. So,
Pokey, you bang
swings
on,
and
mate.
roundabouts, and roundabouts.
The team needs a rocket up the hoop.
Sorry, Christina.
100%.
Is 16 shots not entertaining? If it was that entertaining, can you name 5 of them, please, in the comments? Because if they were that good, you would remember them.
Yeah, I mean that's the one for me, and this is the serious shout out, right? It's the one that V for Vendetta. I was going to bring this up on the show tonight before the match, and I forgot all about it. So thanks for putting that back on. 7 goals away from home all season, right? And 4 of them were against Everton.
There you are.
What more can you say? And I think that speaks volumes, mate. It really does. Away from home, and that was that's the scariest stat that I've seen. Yeah.
Do you know what, to be fair, what I keep doing is just lean in and win a little bit to give him a bit of a hug.
Yeah, give him. That's what I want to do.
I just feel so sorry for him.
Yeah, there you go. Manchester. Here's another good stat for you. Manchester United have kept 1 clean sheet this season. Have a guess who that was against? Oh my God!
But that was what I said when we did the stats on Thursday night, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's scary.
The other ones that never get beaten, the ones that go back to 1930.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, we're a grooming gang. We're grooming a manager. That's what we're doing.
Grooming a manager. I mean, a lot of the shots were blocked by Manchester United players. Yeah, they were in front of goal, but they threw everything at that ball. How many times did their keeper? That you see, for me, a shot is when a keeper makes a save.
And they made 2 saves.
Two
saves. When will lose that guy in the chat again?
Yeah, well, he's not on anyway, so
he's not on. Yeah, we're not even looking at that.
No, but lose him.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, it's not really.
Do you know what? It's Christmas time. We can all sit and take the mick out.
We are knackered, says Jordy.
100%. We sit and take the mick out of each other.
You think the Man United supporters would be celebrating on their own podcast rather than bothering us?
Yeah, exactly.
But no, these back to bed in the chat. Get back to bed, bugger off, and let us just get on.
Go and lick some windows.
Exactly.
Yeah, we are knackered though, mate. You're right, Jordy Dan. Guys, thank you ever so much for everybody that's watched. But we are going to call it a night.
Guys, really one thing before we go. Can we be positive? Burnley, we win. We go into the bed. Whatever happens after this game, we're all Newcastle United fans. Let's go into the Burnley game positive and let's win that game.
Oh God! I'm going to go 1-1 draw.
Well, Jesus. If every bottom team wins, we could still be within 3 points of the Champions League.
Hey, there you go. Look at that. That's the positivity. Thanks to Random Access, Stilmabad, Queenie, Irish, Tony. Who else is there? Fancy Change, JK, Dark Side of the Moon, Tony, Toon Steel, JK. Who else have I missed?
Random Access, Sean.
Random, Sensible Monica.
Queenie.
Thanks everybody. Christopher Horwell.
Christopher Rowell, I think that is.
Is it? Well, there you go. Thank you very much. Geordie Dan, thank you all.
Oh, Christopher's in. Cheers, Christopher. Who's for winning jail for the next stream? For a tenor chat.
Superb. Thank you ever so much, Chris.
Guys, before we
on board.
go the night, can we just thank everybody who's in the chat for all the fantastic support this year and for everything they do for this channel. Yeah. Your likes and your subscriptions make this channel keep going. And, I've loved it since I joined this channel. Absolutely loved it. And I think we all want you guys. I've even grew my hair for you. I just think we all want you here. You get me, you get Win, you get Gary with his fantastic thing, you get Andy, you get all the guys, the Toon twins and everybody. So, thank you very, very much. And thank you very much for everything you guys do for the channel.
And what it does
thank you. Well said, Boki. Brilliant. Like I say, away the lads. Come on.
Lasses and bins.
Don't let me down now.
Thank you to the mods. Thank you to the mods. I missed them.
Yeah. Happy New Year, whatever. I mean, we may see you before then, but if we don't, we'll be there soon. Well, thank you, everybody in the chat. Like I say,
in or out.
Yeah, exactly. In or out. We'll see you on the next one.
Catch you later.
Yeah. Catch you later. Bye-bye.
Away the lads.
Lassies and Bens.